Good afternoon, everybody. It's a real pleasure for me to be here today, and I would like really to thank the Construction Chamber and the Mutual de Seguridad to give me the great honor to do a presentation, because it will be a presentation. I'm not going to teach you how to deal with safety. It's a subject that is too difficult for me. I think that we can only progress in safety by sharing experiences, and that's exactly the type of presentation I will do. I would like to share with you the experiences we have had at SPI, but first of all, let me try to introduce a little bit more about SPI and to give you some highlights on what this company is doing, what we are doing in safety. So the first point is SPI is an independent company. We are specialized in multi-technical services, so we are not in the brick and mortar. We are in the electricity engineering. We are dealing with heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. We are working in different sectors. We will go through that a little bit later. There are one good news. We are in Europe, so we are not competing with the company here in Chile. And we have some value. And those values are really key because they are the basics for the safety strategy in the company. The value is the local presence. So we want to remain very close to our clients. We want to remain very close to the different businesses where we are operating. And we want also to remain very close to our workers. So the collaborators of the company are a real asset for us. Performance means, of course, economical performance, financial performance. But when we are speaking about performance, we are speaking about the global performance of a company. And in that respect, safety is fully part of the performance of the company. And last but not least, we are speaking about responsibility. In our company, everyone is responsible for the performance he achieves or not. And everybody is responsible also to protect the main assets of the company, to protect the people who are working for us, the people that we are hiring temporarily in order to support the operation of the company. So SPI has a long history. It's a company that started beginning of the last century. This company has been created with the development of the subway in Paris, and year after year, the company has had some developments. I know that one name is at least well known here. It's SPI Batignolles, who was operating in Chile. Then later on, the company has split, and now SPI, that I'm representing here today, does not make anymore some big construction, as I said, some brick and mortar, and we are focusing on the energy efficiency, service to the industry, service to the construction, maintenance of the construction and buildings. History is nice, but we are living also in the today world, and that's the few figures from the company. So we are running the business with more than 300,000 employees. So it gives us high responsibility for all those people. We are doing more than 5 billion euro turnover, so it means roughly a 5.8 billion US dollar turnover. And our business is successful because we are growing. So this means also that we can run profitably a business and take care of our people. Both are fully linked together. I remember once a question has been raised to our CEO, and the question was if you had 3 key performance indicators to manage the company, what would be the 3 key performance indicators? And his answer was cash, margin, and safety. He said cash and margin because otherwise the company will disappear. And safety because if you want to be good on safety, you need to be close to the detail and you have to be in the anticipation. And usually when you are close to the detail and if you are in the anticipation, then you can be successful in your business. So it's really make the link between how safety could bring some added value to the business by helping the people to have a different mentality on what is performance, and performance is also safety. So we are running in different segments, business segments. So as you can see, we have part of the business is dealing with energy. We are working in the nuclear industry. We are working in the oil and gas industry. But we are also working in the infrastructure. So that's what we call the smart city, how to make the city more connected, how to make the city more efficient. So that's certainly part also of the business of the Chamber of Construction. We also work a lot about how to make buildings more efficient and how to maintain the building in a way that they are more efficient, saving more energy, being more user-friendly also. If you see the specialty, we have some people that are very good engineers and technicians, so they have some skills. They are electricians, they are good people working in HVAC. So those people, when they are part of a company, they also expect from the company to take care of them. So if you want to retain the people in your company, if you want to grow your company with your employee, it's also something that you have to consider is what are the working conditions that you are offering for them. So taking care of safety is also a way to have a sustainable development in your company and to move forward with your employee for a long time. Just few information, so you will recognize some activity that you are certainly doing here also. When we are speaking about smart city, we are speaking about city lighting, we are speaking about transportation. This morning we had quite some very nice presentation on transportation, how to make the transportation more efficient, how to make the public services more efficient. As you can see, we are working in the hospitals, doing the maintenance of all those infrastructure. We are also working in the to maintain, to design, to build, and to maintain efficient buildings. So this goes from the management of the heating, ventilation, lighting of the building, but also the fire detection, control of access, CCTV system, all that make the buildings more intelligent, I would say, and more, once again, user-friendly. That's part of the future of the construction, I think, and this is where we are operating. Those activities show you that we need some well-trained people, dedicated people, but that we also have people that are working by their own. So we have lots of remote team. We have lots of people that are not under the supervision of their local manager. So it's key, if we want to have those people working safely, that we as a company, we develop a safety culture in the company, and not just to set up some rules. Rules are key points, and we will come back on it, but above that and beyond that, it's how we develop the culture in the company, how we run the business, how we run the company in a way that this will have an influence on the decision that our technician will take on a daily basis. Are they going to take the safe way to do their job, or are they going to put themselves at risk? That's not just the decision of the people. That's how we, as an organization, we are promoting the safe way to do the job, how we are creating the condition to have a positive influence on our technicians and our people. And few pictures, you will certainly recognize the type of activity that's very similar certainly to what you have. So we are exactly in the construction with the first picture. The second one, we also do some emergency response in case of heavy wind to restore the infrastructure or something like that. So this is some particular situation where people are under the stress. They are in condition where everything is not well prepared, well organized. And then it's really important in that case to have a strong safety culture, to really have those people taking all the safety devices they have to take in order to do the job in safe mode. New energies, that's also where we are operating. And HVAC, technical management of boiler rooms, so making the maintenance of buildings. Okay. Safety culture is not a standalone culture. It has really to be part of the culture of the company. So here you have the 5 main documents of the company. Those 5 main documents are, I would say, the business model of the company, so what we believe in terms of green economy, what we believe in terms of development of the future of our business. We also have some convictions, so how we consider that we have to do the job. We promote the diversity. We have a safety document that is a reference document for everyone in the company to understand how do we consider safety. In my past experience, I had to deal with industry. I'm now in the construction area. There is not one unique identity to safety. Each sector of activity has its own identity. Each company has its own safety identity. And I think it's important for us as manager in company to identify what should be the identity, the safety identity of the company in which we are working. And last but not least, we have some business ethical code of conduct because we want to be ethics in the way we are running the business. And altogether, it's give a lot of consistency. So if you want really to run the business in a good way, you need to balance those different approach. You need to ensure that they are all consistent together. These figures is the part of the official presentation of the company. So this is something that our top management and our CEO is presenting on a regular basis. I'm not going to elaborate too much on the figures. Just for you to understand something, these figures is clearly linked to our business model, and I will tell you why. The business model of our company is to grow by acquisition, and this is reflected in these figures. On these figures, we show or we demonstrate that every year we are able to integrate new companies in our group, and that the year after we are able to continue to improve the level of safety. What I just want to mention here is that the KPIs you will have in safety are also related to the type of business that you are running. And you may have some basic figures like the frequency rate of accidents, but by itself it does not mean really something. It has to be tailored in order to fit with the identity, with the business model of your company. So if we look at those figures, it's roughly 1.8 accident per 100 of employee. That's what it means. we are not yet at 0. We expect to be there sometimes. We will see. But we truly believe that we need to have a management system in place. So that's what is shown in the bar on the right. 82% of our employees are working under a management system certified by third parties according to OHSAS 18001 or equivalent. So it means that we need to organize the way we are dealing with safety. We need to set up the priority. We need to follow the action plan. We need to review. We need to manage safety. It's not just something that you decide one morning. It's something that is built over the year and the period. If you look at the red bar on the top, 12.3, this is the average of the business chamber of electricity and HVAC activities in France. So we are also benchmarking ourselves to our competitors, to our sector of activity, and we are proud to be a little bit better than them, even once again if it's a never-ending story. Okay, now if we speak about the different elements that help to build a safety culture in the company. The first one is the life-saving rules. Any company is facing lots of risks. Daily, our people are exposed to a lot of risk. But I think it's a responsibility of the organization to say, what are the main risks for our type of business? What do we really want to avoid? Induction is a key moment when a newcomer is arriving in your company, either an operative or a manager. That's the right moment to tell him, okay, you have had some other experience in the past, you come from different company, or you had no experience because you are youngly graduated, but that's what we want and what we expect from you in terms of safety. This is a key moment to have the people on board with you regarding safety. Prevention, education, and instruction, that's something that has to be done permanently. The fourth point, LMRA, is an acronym for last-minute risk assessment. It's how the people permanently ask themselves what could go wrong. What if no luck? And it helps really for the people to take the right decision at the very last moment. Focus is another tool that helps to get the feedback from the people. And last but not least, what are the organization and the evaluation that we have in place? So life-saving rules, I was lucky I found them in Spanish. So we have three main risks in our type of business. Electricity, daily, how people are exposed to electrical installation. And electricity, you cannot see it in the conductors. Working at high, people are daily working on podium steps, on platforms. They are working at high, they are exposed to some risk. And the third one is road accidents. As I said, we are doing lots of maintenance in different type of environments, and how people are used to drive a lot. So we have remote team, they are exposed also to road traffic accident. Those three risks are the risks that are relevant for our type of business. I'm sure that they are not relevant for many of you. But I think that it's a responsibility of the organization to say, okay, at least on those type of risks, we will not accept any deviations. We will set up some very strong, very tough guidelines because we want to protect you from the high consequences of those risks. But when you just declare it, it's not sufficient. Then you have to enforce that. You have to give sense for the people. So people have to understand what you mean. They have to get to understand the benefit for themselves. So we have permanently some communication campaigns. So this is just an example. This one was built in 3 different parts. So the first part was very simple: what kind of personal protective equipment you need to wear in order to be protected from electricity in that case. Second one was a little bit more tough. That's the purple poster here. There are several on the same topics. It's what might be the consequences for you. And the third one was the strongest. It's what will be the consequences for your family, for your relatives. So do not take shortcuts. Pay attention to your life, because some other could be exposed. But declaring, communicating needs also to measure. We cannot improve without measurements. So that's a measurement tool that has been implemented in one of our branches. We are assessing the level of compliance on the different standards that we set up in terms of safety. And maybe it's not so obvious, but you see the color on the 2 columns on the right. So it's there is a 6-month period between them. And so it showed that on the left we were mostly orange or red, just 2 were green. 6 months after, things have changed, and the organization also have moved to a better compliance to our standards. And if we consider that our standards protect our people, then we are improving. So improvement needs measure. Without measure, you will never understand where you are. As I said, we are permanently reviewing our approach, challenging ourselves. For sure today, we consider that we have too many rules in the company. Even the safety people in the company, they don't know all the safety rules that we have. So how could we expect the collaborators to know all the rules? So I think that's really, and this is a challenge for us, we need to have a limited number of rules. So the few key rules, not many, just the basic one. They have to be defined also by the end users. So it's nice to decide that people could not work with live electricity or live installation, but in some cases they have to. So how do we manage that in order to have a rule that is applicable, understandable and applicable for the people? Otherwise, your rule will just be the decision of somebody in an office, but not really applicable on a daily basis. They have to be simple, because everybody needs to have those rules in mind. And of course, the management, the responsibility of the management is to enforce those rules, to make them really applied, and to have no tolerance regarding those key rules. Otherwise, you will start to deviate a little bit, and once you will have a very severe accident just because day after day you have tolerating some deviations. And last but not least, auditable, you need to be able to measure it. New employee, as I said, I will not go through all those programs, but you need really to pay attention to that induction phases. It has to be well organized, it has to be well documented, it has to be clear for the people. It's a key period, because that's the first contact between a newcomer and the company, and it's where you can explain to him the vision you have regarding safety. And beyond those vision, what are your expectations from them, either as a manager, either as an operative. There are very basic points. The last one, which is not so obvious, Blue Book, is the I would say, the safety code of the company, because it's important that they receive the code and that they understand that this will apply to them. That's how we will measure their commitment, their involvement in safety. That's the traditional way, but more and more we have young people. We try to attract people that have been recently graduated from university. They are not very well or comfortable with those traditional approach. They prefer things that are more on PCs, that are more high-tech, I would say. And we are actually developing some e-learnings training. Those e-learning trainings are very much adapted for those skilled people, young people. And just two examples. One is, how do we communicate what are the elements of the safety culture? So we have a joint project with different companies and with the support of the ICSI, which is a well-known organization in France, to build this shared vision on what are the elements that will help to succeed in a shared safety culture. The picture on the left comes from a short training program for temporary workers. We, in the company, we consider that the temporary workers, they are part of, I would say, their family, our family. They are under the management of our people for a short period of time, but they are under the management of our people. So they are fully integrated. The figures I showed to you a couple of minutes ago are integrated also the accidents for our temporary workers, so not just the permanent contract at SPI. So it's help also to highlight some risks for them. If you want to influence the behaviors, you need, of course, to have a set of tools. I already presented some of them, but I will come back in a few minutes about the last-minute risk assessment, which is for me a very strong, difficult to implement, but key element. We produce lots of safety flash to help to do some lessons learned into the communication. So that helps to communicate what has happened somewhere else in the company, and that could also have an impact on other colleagues. When we have accidents also, a good practice that has been implemented in some of our entity, not in all the company, but it's to share this through the short messages on the mobile phone. So many people now in the organizations have mobile phone, and it's a way to give a warning signals when we have accidents, to say, hey, pay attention, this happened. This has happened recently to somebody else. This may happen in your team, in your people. So it's a way to have people permanently awake that safety is not just something that happens somewhere else. It happens also into the organization. And it's really key that people keep that in mind permanently. Toolbox talks, that's the short meetings, 15 minutes meeting every week, just to remind to the people, okay, the way we are working, is it sufficiently safe? How could we improve the situation? So it's a talk between the supervisor and the workers. It has to deal with some specific risk. It's also a way to keep a permanent awareness of people and to remind them what are the good practices, how they should work, and to also get the feedback from them about specific situations where we may face some difficulties, and all together try to find the best way to approach it. Newsletter, safety poster, that's much more corporate communications, but it's also important because it is tailored to our type of industry. It is tailored to our vocabulary in the company. So it's really a way to demonstrate that it's not just some nice slogan that's come from outside of the company. That's discussion between employee, management, that is fully integrated into the company. In that perspective, just to share few, we had lots of safety instruction they were not nice. It's a list of to-do activity. So we try to introduce a new way to communicate with the people, much more visual, but to show them an environment that they will all recognize, because that's the color of the truck they have, that's the type of equipment they are handling on a daily basis, and it helps to highlight few of the risk or good practice that they have to adopt. So this is in the infrastructure, so it's in French, maybe you can understand some of the words. You have what are the rules, what is forbidden. Same thing for electricity. As we said, this is one of the main risks. So how should you behave safely when you are working in an electrical cabinet? What type of protection you should wear? How you should, what type of signage you should put? How you should lock out the power to work safely? So this is a way to be much more effective in the communication. So this is another, I said that we are working in infrastructure. So when we are working in the picture is better on the left screen. When you are working in the street, so what type of environment you will meet, how to protect yourself, how to protect also the other people who are walking in the street, so the public who could be exposed to our activity. So this is a different way to communicate, but I think that this is also, we need to look for efficiency. We need to look to really make people reacting to what you have to tell them. So the traditional safety instruction, I'm not sure that it's work anymore. It's nice when you want to be certified according to some standard to demonstrate that you have a nice documentation, but it does not really help the people to feel that's my job. I understand how I should work with those type of instruction. Last minute risk assessment, it's a permanent attitude for me. And we all do that on a daily basis. When we are driving our car, before to turn right or left, we pay attention to the rear mirror. So this is a way to do a last minute risk assessment. Is there a car on my right, on my left? So what could go wrong if I turn right without paying attention, if there are a bicycle or another car? So this is exactly what we expect from the people, to have permanently in mind what could go wrong. If I have to change a light here, I have an elevating platform, what could go wrong? The power is switched off? Yes, no. The elevating platform is in good shape? Yes, no. I understand perfectly what is the type of job I have to do. I have the certification to do that. So that's the few questions that are key in order to assess, to do a last-minute risk assessment, to make sure that the job I'm going to do, I will be able to do it safely. We know that usually when people, especially in the maintenance activity, they are proud to solve the problem. So they will try to do whatever they can do to solve the problem. So when they are trying to solve the problem, they are fully concentrated on the issue they have to solve. They have no more room to think about safety. So it's important that they take this 1 minute before to do their job to assess if the situation is safe, because when they will do the job, it's too late. They will just face to the technical problem, try to think about the technical solution they can bring, and not think anymore about safety. Listening to the employee, as I said, safety culture need also to pay attention to what the people have to tell to the management. We cannot develop a safety culture without the involvement of the people on the floor, the technicians that are facing the daily situation. So we have what we call the focus card. This is a way to report some situation, but more than having just a tool to do some reporting, it's also around this concept, a way to encourage the discussion between the local management and the technician, and to say, okay, how could we deal on safety, on occupational health, on environment, and on quality, because they are all linked together. How to be more efficient, how to deal with the daily issue we are facing. And maybe the best part is for the end, but we cannot succeed to develop a safety culture in a company if the top management is not 100% convinced that this is the right way to go. So at SPI, as I said, we really consider that safety culture is part of the overall performance of the company. Safety culture is a way to bring some efficiency into the team, to have people much more mobilized for the company, and there are few things that demonstrate the commitment of the top management. Every month at the executive committee brings together the branch managers, so 12 people, financial director, human resources director, the vice president for strategy, and we spent at least 1 hour on a short day, 1 out of 6 or 7 hours, just on safety, nothing else. And this is a clear commitment that safety, this is the first topic. Every executive committee, we spent the time that is needed, but it's never below 45 minutes, so we have time to really discuss how could we improve the culture in the company. They don't care about the technical issue at this level, the people, but they care about what do we want to bring for the company. In the past, during this nice presentation at the executive committee, we, the safety organization, we were used to do the reporting of the accidents. It's not anymore the case. When we have something that happened regarding one of the 3 main risks, it's the managing director that is directly explaining what has happened. We have, even when there is no physical consequences, even when people just get an electric shock, but no consequences, this is reporting at the very top level of the company. And I will tell you why. It's because we still have had some very critical accidents with electricity, so there is no tolerance on this accident. We really need to understand from the very small incident to the biggest accident what has happened. And it's the responsibility of the management, of the top management, to make sure that the investigation went to the end, that the right decisions are taken, and that this accident will be prevented for the future. So that's nice. It's just for a bunch of few people, the top executive people in the company. But everybody in the company, as part of his annual incomes, depends on the safety performance of the company. So we have a fixed income, and we have everybody has a part that is variable in his salary, and this part is based on few criteria: the performance of the company, how you reach your objective, and the safety performance. So if your entity does not perform well in safety, people will see the difference. If the company does not perform well in safety, people will see the difference. This is also a way to, you cannot say it's important to work on safety without demonstrating that this has an impact on everyone at the company. And if we are performing well, people will get some bonus according to that. So this is also part of the human resources policy, to really make obvious that safety is not just a talk, it's something that is visible permanently in the company. We consider that this is part of the business, so there is no communication to the when we are doing the annual results, when we are doing the presentation of the business of the company, where we do not speak about safety. So we always mention safety because this is part of the identity of the company. And if it's part of the identity, it has to be mentioned every time when we have some external communication, when we have internal meetings. So you can go on the on YouTube. We are doing some nice video to present the type of business we are doing. You will see that safety is mentioned by the management when they are presenting their business. You can go on the website of the company. You will see that this is also addressed. You can go on the presentation of the annual result of the company. There is always a message regarding safety, how we performed in the previous year. It's request also to have an organization to support that in the company. We have in the CChC team approximately 160 full-time employees. They are all people specialized mostly in safety, occupational safety. Their role is not to control what is done on site, not only to control. Their role is also to work with the management on how they can improve, how they can motivate the people, how they can find the right way to do the job. So they are really here to support the organization on developing good safety practices. But this is an investment, and we are proud of this investment. When we compare with some other company, we certainly have a high number of people in that organization, but we want to achieve also better results than the other, so we need to invest also in that type of skilled people. But at the end, we did not yet succeed to have all the results we are expecting. Last year, we have had a very bad year. We have had 3 fatalities. Out of those 3 fatalities, 1 happened on a construction site. A guy has been crushed by a wall form that fell down on him. He was working to prepare the electricity before to pour the cement into the wall form. The wall form was not being properly installed and fixed by the general construction company, and how people has been killed. The other accident, it was an electrocution. People had to do a work on an overhead line. It was in summer. So summer for us is July. People were almost ready to go on vacations. We had this work to finalize, and the 2 people has been killed when they reached an overhead line that was still under power. This has been a shock for the company. This has really been seen as an opportunity to change the approach, reinforce the approach, be more demanding on what we should do to protect the people. Here there are plenty of lessons learned. One is that even at the very last day before the vacation, we must pay attention to the very small detail. We must control the power every time we are to work on an electrical installation. For the middle management, there is no reason not to do a perfect preparation of work. In that case, the preparation of work was poor. Middle management has been fired. Local management has been fired. CChC manager has been fired. But there is no reason we will accept in our organization that people does not act according to what we expect and according to the level we want to reach. So we have reinitiated again and again the approach regarding the how we must improve the safety culture of the company. We asked to the Institute for a Safety Culture to help us. They did some workshop with the management. The management took some commitment. So we are working on that. I think that maybe as a conclusion, if we want to achieve a good, if not a perfect safety level, we need permanently to bring some innovation into the organization. It's not just a question of one department in the organization or another. It should mobilize all the different functions of the company and all the level, from the top management, and the top management is key, to the low management. And for that, we need to have a shared vision, and we need to be supported also by third parties that will give us different vision on what we are doing, how we are progressing. I'm sure that you have this type of organization. I'm sure that Mutual de Seguridad can bring also some different view on what you are doing and help to progress and to promote and to develop safety culture, because it's a never-ending story. And when you feel that you have achieved a good performance, and we are achieving a good performance, you are not protected to face some very dramatic situation. And safety culture is something that will never stop, but for sure, our people, our collaborators, they need that, because they are doing the business of our companies on a daily basis. So I think that this is a way to recognize that we count on them and that they count on us to really create the good safety level in all of our organization. Thank you very much.